with my boys Cameron Creeks, James Jefferson, David Wilkinson. We'll be premiering our first episode of Hot as Balls. On this episode today, we'll be discussing and debating some of the hottest sports topics in the world today, from the madness of March Madness to LA Bron. We have some special guests coming in today. We're going to be testing their knowledge on the hot seat. Later on, we're going to be headed to the court for a heat check with the boys. So, y'all are in for a good show. This is Hot as Balls. All right, guys. So, first topic of the day, MVP race. Who's y'all's top, Giannis or Harden?
I'm going to have to go with Giannis.
I'm going James Harden. James Harden all the way.
James Harden, unanimous.
Unanimous? What? I'm going with Giannis. Why Harden?
Why Harden unanimous? This is the second highest scoring season in the history of the sport outside of Wilt Chamberlain. The only person that has ever scored more outside of Wilt is Michael Jordan himself. Factor that in with this is the most assists by any of these players that have ever averaged over 35. You could make the case that this is arguably the best offensive season in the history of the sport. James Harden for him.
Offensive season. So MVP, that's most valuable player all the way around, offense and defense. So you're trying to say that Giannis doesn't play both sides of the court
Giannis does
better than Harden?
Giannis plays one side of the court better. Harden plays the other side better. With the MVP, that's just come into this year. Like the past 4 MVPs have been Steph, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. None of those guys have been plus defenders like Giannis. They're just trying to find a way for Harden to not get it again.
I agree. I would say if you had to choose between Giannis or James Harden as your team, you had a first round pick and you had those two options, which one would you choose? I would pick James Harden to build my team around.
I would have to go with Giannis. Just thinking of how Milwaukee was before he was there, irrelevant, one of the last seeds in the East. Giannis came and turned the program around, 50-plus wins. First seed in the East, first and second seed. Trying to go deep into the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, they're going to go deep. Maybe even to the finals.
Yeah, like that's a valid observation right there. Because if you take Giannis out of Milwaukee,
they have nothing.
Who is Milwaukee? Who are the Bucks? If you ever think about Milwaukee, you always think, oh, Giannis, first thing to come to mind. Of course, they have Bledsoe on the team, but who thinks about Bledsoe when they hear Milwaukee?
Yeah. He makes the players around him better.
If you take Harden out of the Rockets, you have Chris Paul, you have PJ Tucker. You have people who can shoot, people who can make plays. So,
team full of role players in Milwaukee besides Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Truth.
So my MVP will still be Giannis.
Let's be honest. Giannis is trash to me. I mean, we can look at the stats. The only thing he's really beating James Harden in is field goal percentage, 58%. And we know he doesn't even shoot threes. Giannis airballs every time he shoots them. Rebounds per game, he's beating James Harden. He has 12.5 rebounds. James Harden only averaging 5.4 rebounds. Blocks per game, he's averaging 1.5 rebounds. 1.5 blocks, and James Harden only averaging 0.7 blocks per game. But other than that, James Harden beats him in every category. So I really don't think there's a debate for this.
Those are some pretty important categories besides shooting.
Which is the main part of basketball, shooting. So, you got a guy that's 6'11",
58%. He is making something
with a 1,000-foot wingspan. Of course, he's gonna block 1.5 shots a game, obviously, and he's gonna rebound. Like he said earlier before the thing, Brook Lopez doesn't even rebound for a big man, so he's gonna average 12 rebounds a game. So I really don't see a debate here.
If we're going first round draft pick, I'm still taking Giannis. Because with Giannis, I have a blocker, a rebounder, someone who can get to the rim, and then with Harden, I have a shooter and a facilitator.
You can build so much around Giannis.
You can build a lot more around Giannis. All I need is role players as far as putting them around Giannis than as opposed to James.
Even with James on the Rockets, when you're trying to build around that, you may have ego trips. Of course, he has the ball 50-60% of the time. Chris Paul coming in, you never know how that's going to work, being both ball dominant. Trying to add players to that, you never know what may happen with egos, with the team chemistry, with James Harden taking 30-plus shots a game.
Right now, Milwaukee versus the Rockets. Rockets are destroying them in the playoffs if they play against
the
each other.
Rockets have lost twice to them already this season, 1 and 2. So I don't see how they're destroying them.
I say in the 7-game series. It's only
it'd
going
be
5
4
games.
If you stretch
Five
those,
games.
if you stretch those 3 games to 7 games, Milwaukee's winning 4-3, right?
I don't know.
I like that one. They're
We'll
already
see.
up too.
We'll have to see.
They're already up. Next topic. Let's see. So, since we're still on MVPs, LeBron or Michael Jordan? That's a heavy one.
I gotta go Kobe. Kobe all day.
Kobe.
I can
Right.
respect that.
This is my rank. I know Kobe ranked maybe a week ago what his top 3 would be. I'm going to go with Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. 1, 2, and 3. What you think, David?
I would go. I agree with that. Michael Jordan's the best player of all time. I would go with LeBron at number 2, and then Kobe third.
Best player of all time is hands down LeBron James. Best player, for sure.
LeBron just don't have that dog in me like Kobe and Jordan did.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about the best player. Like, if I'm taking out of all 3, LeBron James has the better defense, better offense to get to the as far as offense goes, he's good on offense.
Oh, you can sleep on
Kobe-
defense a little bit.
Kobe is lethal, but if I had Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, I'm taking LeBron all day. Just the size, the weight comparison it's just different. Now, Jordan has a much better legacy. I'll give him that. Definitely, I mean,
Kobe
as
has
many
a better
rings as he has, but I just think LeBron is a better player all the way around.
So, Kobe. Let's talk about.
That's it. Mamba mentality.
I mean, we just talk about the eye test, just watching them play. You see Kobe, he just takes over games. He just scores. He has he scored 81 in the game, the second highest ever in one game. I don't think anybody's ever going to beat that. LeBron just cries too much. He just.
I think
I can respect that.
I look at the era that all 3 of them played in. I know LeBron played in the most recent era that's who we're familiar with, so I know there's a lot of LeBron fans our age or younger. But just looking at the competition that Jordan played against and the numbers that he put up, the championships he won, he played against the Bad Boys, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. That was some dog teams that just a lot more physical than it is now. You look at the ref wrong, where you touch somebody's back and you get a technical. I mean, it's just a totally different that Jordan had to deal with and still put up those numbers as LeBron, where if you just post up and get a touch foul, that's an and one. Jordan had to bleed to get an and one.
So
it's just totally different.
What's this about the LeBron James treatment? That boy, he's massive, he's tall, so he can run through anybody. That would be a foul on anybody else, but he ain't gonna get it. So if he's in that area, it's gonna be the same thing. There's no difference for him.
I think LeBron would fit in good with that era because, I mean, he is more physical than most of the players now. But I feel like there would be more players that would match his physicality back in that Jordan era.
I'm gonna trump the
I know you got something to say,
the
definitely.
Jordan era conversation because one main thing that people don't talk about is illegal defense. Back then, there was a thing that was illegal defense. If a defensive player leaves his man to go double team, that was illegal back then. So that allowed players to isolate more and get open shots. Nowadays, they don't have that anymore. So you can leave and go double team James Harden and Kobe and LeBron, and they're forced to pass the ball. So I would say that's probably a reason why Michael Jordan got as many points as he got.
That would be the sole reason.
Made a lot of plays. It's not the sole reason. We know he's going to translate to every generation, but I really feel like Kobe was right in the middle of both of those generations, and he got buckets all throughout all the generations. So I got to say Kobe all day.
I do respect your eye test argument for Kobe. Watching him was unbelievable when he won his championships, especially the latter two when he won Finals MVP. But I'll go with statistics. You look at Michael Jordan. He had 11 scoring titles. He had the highest scoring season in the history of the sport outside of Wilt Chamberlain at 37.1 points per game. You look at him, and he has a career 30-point per game average for his career. His numbers are significantly better than pretty much everybody's, and not only offensive numbers. You look at him defensively. He was always the best defensive player on the court. He was always the best scorer on the court, every single game.
That's why me and David get along. that's why we get along.
Michael Jordan's the best.
Michael Jordan.
Man, let's find something we can all agree on. All right, let's switch it on over to the next topic. All right. So next one, we're going to be talking about the high pay rate in sports today. For example, the Bryce Harper and Mike Trout contracts.
$330 million would Bryce get? Jesus.
Mike Trout got 410.
Over how many
412,
years though? How many years? is
Bryce
that?
got
I think like 10 years.
13
13
years for
years.
330,
13 years for
and
Harper.
Trout got 12 for 440.
That is crazy. That is insane.
I mean,
Do y'all agree with like paying players that highly? Or
Baseball players.
baseball players.
Because they get
Even all athletes, really,
Yeah.
like basketball players, like getting multi-million-dollar contracts.
I 100% agree with the annual salaries that these players receive. I don't agree with baseball's length of contracts because you look at the Albert Pujolses of the world. He's still under contract for this year and 2 years after that at $30 million each year, and he's borderline unplayable. He can no longer play first base. He strictly has to play DH, and he's a 240 DH. He hits 240 as a DH. That's not worth. That's
$30
not what you
million
pay.
a year
That's
DH?
not what you pay $30 million for.
No.
So
My argument for that is I feel like they pay players based off what they've done in the past, like the work they've already put in, not based on like what they're gonna do in
in
the future.
baseball, yeah.
13
in baseball, and-
contract.
Yeah, even in basketball, I remember Gilbert Arenas, they're still paying him, and he hurt his knee, and he's still out, but they're still paying
Detroit
him.
was paying Josh Smith forever.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah.
paying because it's what they did do. Like he
Yeah.
really rejuvenized the whole franchise. You know, and these type of players they only come once in a generation. So I really got to say, I still agree with paying them. And then you look at the amount of money that they're bringing to the sport,
Yeah.
to the game, the amount of attention. You got to pay them.
Yeah, and so specifically for Bryce Harper, you look at his impact on Philadelphia. They went from a team that didn't make the playoffs last year to now they have legitimate World Series aspirations. Factor in with all of the jerseys that he's sold, that he's already sold, that he's going to continue to be selling. You look at they can increase ticket prices, all of the revenue, and even alone they did not make the playoffs. So just making the playoffs alone continually adds games that you can charge people for, and your franchise makes money. So he is definitely worth his contract on an annual basis. I don't know. He's not going to be worth that contract in year 12 and year 13. But as of right now, he's 100% worth the average annual value of his contract.
yeah,
I think
like,
that's what they
that'd be the difference between like say the NBA and the MLB. Like NBA, I mean, what's the highest year contract you might see?
maybe 5.
Like 5,
Yeah,
6
max
years
is-
is
max
pushing
is
it.
5 years.
Right.
Max is a 5-year deal.
Like in MLB, like these 12, 13, 14-year deals, that's ridiculous, you know?
I mean, I feel like it goes based on the physicality of the sport too. You see football players with these maybe 1 or 2 year contracts because they're taking hits. You never know what may happen. Basketball too is a little bit lengthier because I mean you see a lot of even non-physical activities with the guy that just tore his ACL just by running into a layup or you know what I'm saying. Anything may happen. So of course it's a little shorter. Baseball is less physical. It's more technical. So I mean, if they may get hurt with something like minor injuries or something like that, of course they'll be out for a little bit of a time. But they pay them based off the physicality of the sport and how long the season is. 160 games or 180 games, however long the baseball season is.
That's long.
You know what I'm saying? That's really long. So they pay them based off that and the physicality of the sport.
How's it going, guys? This is the hot seat segment of Hot as Balls. I got special guest today. This is Morgan Anderson. She's going to be answering a few questions. She got some time, and if she beats out her opponent, she'll win this awesome James Harden jersey. Ready, Morgan?
Yes.
Alrighty, let's get started. First one. Which Jamaican sprinter won gold medals at the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 4x100 relay at 3 consecutive Olympic Games for 2008 through 2016?
Same Bolt.
Which boxer inflicted Muhammad Ali's first defeat in professional boxing?
Ooh, I can't think of his name.
Got you. Got 2 seconds. Guess.
Oh, it's like a movie. There's names.
On to the next one.
Okay.
All right.
Paul or
Who's
something?
almost?
Okay.
But
Something like that. Creed.
all right. Who is the NFL's all-time leading rusher? Give you a hint. Played for the Dallas Cowboys.
All-time leading rusher. I don't know.
All right, next one. Which NFL team appeared in 4 consecutive Super Bowls from 1991, 1994, and lost them all?
Steelers.
All right, last one. Which golf tournament did Tiger Woods win by 12 strokes? That one's super hard. I'm gonna go to the next one. There's one that is much easier. All right, next one. Who has won more tennis Grand Slam titles, Venus Williams or Serena Williams?
Serena, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Our next contestant on the hot seat to win our awesome James Harden jersey is my boy Jordan Braun. I'm gonna be asking him the same questions that I asked Morgan. You're all ready?
Ready to go.
Gotcha. All right. First question. Who has won more tennis Grand Slam titles, Venus or Serena Williams?
Serena.
All right. Which Jamaican sprinter won gold medals at the 100 meter, 200 meter, and 4x100 meter relay at 3 consecutive Olympic Games from 2008 through 2016?
Usain Bolt.
Which boxer inflicted Muhammad Ali's first defeat in professional boxing?
No idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is the NFL's all-time leading rusher? I'll give you a hint. Played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Emmitt Smith.
Which NFL team appeared in 4 consecutive Super Bowls from 1991 through 1994 and lost them all?
Buffalo Bills.
And that was it. Alrighty, and the winner on our first ever hot seat trivia game is Jordan. Yeah, there you go. Rock it proudly. Yeah. All right, guys, let's have some fun. Your boy Lando with Cameron, David, James. We're out here on the Houston Rockets practice court. We're gonna be splitting up into teams. Me, your boy James, Cameron, David. Between the two of us, we each have to make 1 layup, 1 mid-range, 1 3-point, and 1 half-court shot. Let's get this heat check round going.
Yeah. I gotta go back there. Yeah, you can't shoot 2 in a row. Yeah. We got this. Oh, okay. I got you, baby. How much time left? Yeah. Come on. This pussy right here. Bricks. Oh. And up quick. Here you go. Uh-oh. We're gonna make it first. Oh. He got it. Oh. Yeah. He just must have run up. How much time? Oh. Let's go. They ain't gonna bust it though. Nope.
All right, guys. So it ended in a tie. So for our tiebreaker, each team has 5 shots. Each team has to shoot individually, and neither one of us make it. We hit in the showers, man. It's a wrap.
But I'm gonna make it.
Let's go up top. To wrap up our hottest balls, of course, me and your boy James ended up taking it home in the end. But we want to send a special thanks to our man Tad Brown for letting us use the facility, film in here, and get our podcast nice and set. Again, we'll see you again on Hottest Balls.
They won because I didn't play.
Yeah, that's what it was.